Good morning. It's Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and I am here to talk about the Texas show. Okay, so I have a recording. This link, I don't even know why I'm pointing it out. I am deleting this video after I finish filming this video, so don't even look for the link so you can watch this full screen recording. But I decided to do this because there was that one time when I was filming with Chelsea, and I had the tapes, and then I tried to go click on the tapes, and they wouldn't load, so we didn't have anything to reference, and I will never let that happen again. So here we are. We had Miss Raina winning the show. Who were my guests? Okay, I'll play Raina's little routine. Who were my guesses going into the show? In first place, I had, who did I have? Was that my guess? Okay, I had Kate first, Raina second, Naday third, Savannah Watchman fourth, Brittany Gillespie fifth, Jody Ekstrom sixth, Danny seventh, Savannah Dolezal eighth. I'm honestly not shocked by my predictions. I know I had a hard time, but you know what? Hindsight bias, which is why I take notes during these streams. Okay, so what actually ended up happening? We had Raina in first, Naday in second, Sharon Ramos in third, Brittany Gillespie in fourth, and then Savannah Dolezal in fifth. So here's Raina's routine. When Raina walked out, I was like, oh my God, this is very possibly and very likely our winner. And the other person that really stood out when I was watching the show is Brittany Gillespie. I thought when she walked out, I was like, okay, this could definitely be her show. It's just going to depend on, okay, Jody Ekstrom, so this goes in alphabetical order. Okay, yeah, when she walked out, I was like, this could be Brittany's show. They both were just completely on, and I was blown away. Okay, so here we're going to watch Brittany walk in. And what was standing out to me with Brittany? Number one, the confidence. The physique, she was glowing. Hair and makeup always look great. Her pose, she looked very balanced. Wow. Yeah, she was just popping. That was the main thing. I mean, she's just popping. So yeah, the glutes are popping, shoulders are popping. Yeah, she just looked really good, really confident. So I was thinking it could be either of them. My hang up with Brittany winning is that I thought judges might tell her that she is too something. Does she look too lean to me? Not really. I mean, she looks like she has more lines showing than Raina, for instance. But, yeah, I don't know. I think, we'll get into everyone, but what I'm thinking mainly is same thing that I've been saying about Brittany is that I think Brittany just needs some more size, specifically in her quads, hams, maybe a little bit her arms, just because they look a little more narrow in her back pose. So those are just my guesses, but yeah. I love Brittany's physique. I would love to know what her feedback is, but also I would like to see if her feedback is what I have just said I think it is, then what it would look like if she took a period of time off, built those areas, and then came back. Then I think she could just really be winning shows. There's some things with her presentation that I'll get into that I think could be improved, but I don't think that they are what's stopping her from getting first place. So yeah, okay. And I saw on her Instagram story that she is doing one more show. So what show is happening? What show's happening this weekend? There are two options. I think Chicago Pro, and then there's one other show for Bikini in the US that would make Los Angeles. Okay, Los Angeles Grand Prix. So yeah, she could be doing either of those. I'm really excited to see what happens. Or it could be a show she signed up that's in 2 weeks from now. I'm not sure. It would probably make sense to do a show when there's two shows in the US on the same weekend, because that's going to split the talent into two different pools. One will probably be, as it always is, more difficult than the other, harder competition than the other, but every competition in Pro Bikini is hard. So it's not not that big of a difference. Unless an Ashley Caldwell does one of the shows, which I don't think she will. I think she's going to do Vancouver. in 2 weeks. Okay. Oh my God, I'm choking. I should grab my water. Okay, so here's a picture of the first call out. The people, okay, I have notes on this. Who stood out to me in, okay, maybe I feel bad pulling up the stream, but like nobody's going to watch the stream at this point, right? So, okay, as people were coming out, what did I think? Okay, so here's the first group. Okay, here we go. So when people came out, the ones that stood out to me were, okay, in this call out, Brittany, obviously. The people I wrote down were Christina, Raina, Nade, Brittany, Savannah Dolezal, Danny, a green suit, and a blonde person. And was it this person? It might have been this person, but there's another girl that has blonde hair in a green suit. Okay, so yeah. And then Alessia, Savannah Watchman, Kate, Neji, and Michelle. So Michelle is in this call out here. This is an initial comparison. So here is, where is Michelle? I thought Michelle was in this one. She must be. Michelle Billet? Whatever. Maybe that's not Michelle. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, Alessia stood out to me because her glutes look really full. So if we look at just this initial comparison round, her and Brittany's glutes are really like popping and showing a lot of projection. I would say this girl's glutes are doing the same, but the hamstrings don't quite match. But they do on Alessia. They don't quite match on Brittany, but Brittany's overall shape to the lower body is better, I think. Like her glutes do taper into her legs. With this athlete, even though she looks incredible, the glutes are showing a similar roundness to her quads. And then maybe it was this green blonde person. So, I mean, maybe it was. I'm not sure, but because she looks really good. Could have been her. And then in the front pose, I think this is probably the best Alessia's front pose has looked. But it's just like structurally not as striking as someone like Brittany, but it is really good still. Jodie Ekstrom making her pro debut looked incredible. And I had her in a prediction to be in, 7th place or something. She just looked like she needed a little more size compared to the other competitors. So I think, that's all and to be expected. Okay, and then our next group, we have Raina. So Raina really stood out because she has like impeccable balance, and the pop and bubbliness in her physique is fucking crazy. So yeah, she stood out as probably winning the show. Sharon Ramos, her conditioning looks incredible. She ended up getting 3rd place. I do think she lacked a little bit of glute projection. However, she still edged out 4th place, which ended up being, who was 4th? Brittany. And I think it's because she had more overall bubbliness, similar to what we see in Raina, compared to Brittany, who comes in a little bit tighter with a little more detail. So I think the only thing Sharon was lacking was a little bit of glute depth, whereas Brittany's conditioning might have been a little bit over the line compared to the top 3. And yeah, needs a little bit more size in her limbs to get better balance. Nade also stood out to me. Her fullness looks incredible. The only thing that was throwing me off with her is that her front pose changed throughout the show. So her feet were together here, making her look a little more figurey because then they taper at the feet. And you want this split stance that you're seeing in the 1st and 3rd place because it gives you that more hourglass shape. What would I like to see change on Nade's front pose here? I mean, her conditioning was spot on, so we'll get into like different poses soon. And then Christina, she stood out to me. This was her pro debut. I wanted to see what she looked like more straight on, because obviously she's covering her glute here because she is angling towards the judges. And then here is the back pose. I'll let Nade get into her back pose. Yeah, Raina's back pose is really good. Laura Lee Chapados was doing commentary for this show, and she mentioned something about Raina's glutes, which was that Raina is arching a lot, and like the more you push back, the more you lose the upper outer glute. And she commented that Nade is standing perfectly upright, which is showing the upper outer roundness of her glutes. So yeah, I do agree with Laura Lee, because normally Raina does have a little more pop here. However, her overall balance and fullness is, I think, completely spot on, and you still get enough roundness in this upper glute to edge out Nade. My alarm went off. So yeah, that's what stood out to me. And then Christina, she had really great conditioning, needs a little more depth to her glutes and overall size, but really incredible balance, gorgeous shape. So yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking there. Okay. And then let's get into our next call out. Oh, and Sharon. Yeah, so Sharon, it just looks like the shape of her suit could be better. I would prefer like Nadea's shape on Sharon with a little more coverage. So the amount of coverage Sharon's has is great, but it's just a little too thick down the center here, which I think makes the glutes look more shallow. Yeah, and then it could be more like heart shaped, like you see Nadea's. This one it's not quite pointy, but it doesn't give a round shape like the girl Christina right next to her. So yeah, I would prefer just a different suit cut on her. Okay, what do I think about the white suit? Okay, yeah. So I was wondering if she could pull the bottoms up in the front and down in the back to get that kind of heart shape. But I think, she could, but I think just a different cut of suit bottom would be better. What do I think about the white suit? It's not my fave. Does she rock anything she does? Yeah. But is it my fave? No. It just doesn't pop quite as much. And then on commentary, they were saying that maybe a yellow suit would be great. Okay. And then we have our next group. So Marissa Wilmot, she ended up getting, I want to say 6th place. She was standing out to me, but I didn't know who she was. And then afterwards, when I realized it was Marissa, I was like, oh yeah, I talk about her all the time. Okay, so this is the other blonde girl with the green suit that I was wondering who I was talking about. Okay, so Neji, she looks really great. Her balance, but from top to bottom, is really good. And she stood out to me, but the only issue is that her midsection looks a little bit thicker. But I did want to point out that she was someone who stood out to me. And then Savannah Watchman, I thought looked absolutely phenomenal. So Savannah Watchman won the overall NPC USAs in 2022, I believe. Let's pull her up. So, okay, yeah. Marissa got 6th. Okay, so Savannah Watchman, she got 9th, I think. Let's see. Yeah, okay, she got 9th. And then in 2022, she won the USA's overall. So when she went pro, there was a lot of discourse about like her being way too hard and muscular. And yeah, I agree. Like she was pretty hard there. She looked phenomenal though. And now she's really streamlined her muscles so it doesn't have that like graininess. She's just, I don't know, probably peaking differently, stuff like that. A lot of things. It's been like 3 years since she went pro. And she's definitely brought up her glutes. Her shape is gorgeous. She was less balanced from top to bottom in terms of like her hardness up top in 2022. And now she has totally streamlined that. So, oh, that's Brittany. One sec. Okay, that's Brittany. Oh, I don't have Savannah pulled up. Okay, let me pull up Savannah. So yeah, I think she's done a great job streamlining. And she has gone to the Olympia before. She went to the Olympia last year. Or 2 years ago in 2023. So yeah, what does Savannah need to do? I do not necessarily know. I don't know. I maybe just a little more overall density in the lower body. And this is just to show you that she's like now balanced and matching from top to bottom. So congratulations to her. This is a really, really beautiful look. And her shape is crazy, these proportions. So what does she need to start like consistently being in that top again and going to the Olympia? I don't know. Maybe a little more upper glute. Her shape is there. Her presence is there. So it's gotta be a physique thing. Like, and also she competed at this show, which was really big. And what other show did she do? Indie, that was also really big. So maybe it's just like, no shade to her, obviously. She's an Olympian. But maybe it's just a matter of like a show that has a less really... I don't know, that sounds rude, like less really good competitors in them. I'm not sure. I'm surprised she's not making higher placings with this shape. I assume just needs a little more size on the lower body because everything else is there. Hair, makeup, suit, tan, all look great. Her shape is stunning. It's like one of the most hourglassy shapes in the show, I think. I think it's even more hourglassy than Nadea, and I love Nadea's physique. And not that that would mean I don't love Nadea's physique, but does that make sense? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so now let's go back to the video. So yeah, I just wanted to note that because Savannah looks really great. So gotta give her flowers. Okay, so Marissa stands out, but she's just a little on the harder side. So what I make of that is that like people who were a little on the harder side, so her and Brittany, they just placed a little lower in that top six. And then who got fifth place? Savannah. Yeah, so Savannah was also a little bit harder. Okay, so let's move on to the next call out. Okay, I think it was this. I don't know, you guys. Did I not write people down in order? Okay. Because I didn't know her name, I wrote her down after the fact. Okay, so here we are doing individuals. So this is a Masters competitor who you did not see before because Masters already, or maybe you saw her before. But Master, actually, what am I even saying? Okay, so here is Kate. Did I not show you her in the callouts? So she looked really great, really full, very hourglassy. I would just say her glutes looked like they were lacking the density needed to taper down into her legs, but she looked really, really good. Her conditioning looked on point. Her stance was also a little bit wide, so I think she could close that up and she would get better balance between top and bottom. So now let's just move to, I already showed you the two routines that really stood out to me. Let me pull up a Naday's routine though, because I want to see how her feet landed. I can't really remember. Okay, so who is this? Okay, here's Naday. So with Naday, I think her biggest opportunity is just being a little more confident on stage. And she's still newer to competing in general. Like, she just went pro in 2023. So, okay, her feet stayed that same way. So, yeah, gorgeous, smiling. That's great. I would do a little arch in the low back there just so you get better hourglass shape the whole time. Her back pose is spot on. Nothing that I would change there. Yeah, I mean, looking confident. The only thing that stands out negatively to me really is when she looks down a lot, like looks down at her steps like that. And then that little move where she gets really straight on. I want her to go straight from whatever pose she was just in to landing in her front pose. When you turn really straight on like that, it shatters the illusion of hourglass shape, and you want to maintain hourglass shape for as long as possible on stage. So, yeah. Okay. And then based on the callouts, here's Raina again. Based on the callouts, I had, okay, and something I want to notice with Raina, when she walks to the back, her glutes do not move, and neither did Naday's. I think she walks to the back a little bit here. Yeah, glute stays really full right there when she does that transition. That's where a lot of people slope off. So that is something you will notice. Okay, yeah, and they just stay full. That is something you will notice that separates the top like one or two. A lot of times it's just one person in the show whose glutes don't slope off. Between 1 and 2 and the rest of everyone in the show. Okay, Sharon's routine, yeah, really full. Her conditioning is spot on. And yeah, I would just change the suit cut, and she'll just need more glutes long term to taper down into her leg. But this is a beautiful look. She's very confident. We are seeing some softness in the ham tie there, but this video is not the same as being there in person. Like, her glutes still look very full. So yeah, that's Sharon. Okay, and so let's now move on. I'm just going to show you the pictures now. Okay, so in the front pose, what do I see here? Or I guess maybe I should have shown you callouts. Okay, we're just going to do it like this though. So in the first callout here, the people that, so who did I guess from the initial walkouts? Who do I think was going to... The people that stood out were Christina, Raina, Naday, Brittany, Savannah D, Danny, the green blonde, Kira, Alessia, Savannah Watchman, Kate, Neji, and Michelle. So of those people, who did I guess was going to be in the call-out? Raina, Naday, Brittany, Savannah Dolezal, Danny, Alessia, Savannah Watchman, Kate... And then I was just at a loss, so I said Michelle, but I didn't really believe that. So yeah, of those 9 people that I just mentioned, I only got... Did I say Savannah Dolezal? No, I didn't. Okay, of those people, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I only got 5 of the people that I mentioned. So, yeah, what do I see in this first call out? Conditioning is the first thing I'm looking at. And I think that of the people in this call out, Raina, Naday, Sharon, Brittany, and Savannah to an extent, and Danny have the conditioning that's most similar to what the judges want. So they look really full without seeing too many lines and without seeing any graininess. And Marissa just looks a little bit bordering on too tight. Savannah Dolezal looked bordering on too tight in her upper body, which I do think is the case, but not enough to get her out of the top 5. And then Alessia from the front is just looking a little bit, just doesn't have aesthetic of a front pose as the other people. So yeah, looking at this, when I was trying to figure out who I thought would win, I had Raina. I hoped for Brittany, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, Raina and Nade were the 2 people I was between for first and second place. So yeah, I don't even know if there's much more to say about that. We'll just get into people's individual things. So in the back pose, they ended up having Raina, Nade, Sharon, and Brittany all walk off. Like, they were definitely the top 4. And then the things that you'll notice with these top 4 is just how round and full their glutes look. With the top 3, you'll notice that they don't come as hard into the tie-in here. Nade, arguably, but I don't think it's as crisp as it looks in this photo. Yeah, because her hamstring is really full. So sorry, did I even write stuff? Okay. Yeah, I wrote Nade's feet keep changing. I said Raina, Brittany, and Nade stand out. Raina moves to the middle, Sharon moves in, and Savannah moves out. Conditioning on Nade, Raina, Alessia are the same. Britt is just underdeveloped, so is tighter. So yeah, when I say that, I mean like her legs are a little underdeveloped in terms of muscularity, obviously. So she has to come in a little tighter to get this same pop. But unfortunately, that makes her less like these top 3. Okay, and then I said what Laura Lee said about pushing too much. Brittany moved in and Alessia out after a couple of walks to the back. So why do I think that happened? I think they just saw that Brittany had a better overall package than Alessia. So even though Alessia's back pose is really good and really full, it doesn't quite match the front pose as much. And I think Brittany's front and back match better in terms of conditioning. And then I said they sent those top 4 off, and then they did second call outs and added Christina, Savannah Watchman, and another person that I didn't know. And then they moved in Jessica Dolius, and Savannah D moved center and split center with who? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't write it down. Okay. And yeah, so that was it. That was all that I had written. So let's get into these people's individual photos. So here we have Raina. What do I think Raina could improve? I think she already really improved her front pose. I think this is probably the front pose for her. She improved it from her last show, which I thought her front pose looked like she was tipping forward. So I'll pull that up. So yeah, here it looks to me like she's tipping forward a little bit. Because her torso is also pushed, like she's almost pushing her ribs forward. I think she looks a lot more balanced here. Could she split her stance a little bit more? I think so. Could she drop her hand a little bit more? I think so. Could she bring her arm in tighter a little bit? I think so. But this, I think, is a really strong front pose. So I don't think she needs to change anything. Those are curiosities that I have. Her back pose, I think, is spot on. I think she could have a little more coverage right here. So we see that, you can see how round her glute is here. But this suit is exposing where it's flat because that's her bone. So she could have more coverage right here, just covering this area that my mouse is covering. I think that would be more flattering. Her glutes are going to pop regardless because she has crazy glutes. But I think it would make her that much better. I like the red on her. And as usual, I think her makeup could be a little more glam. And I want the hair to be slightly shorter so we can see her low back. And I don't want it sitting like this, but I do like the straight hair on her. Okay, and then in second place, why do I think Nade got into second place? I think Raina's overall posing and stage presence are stronger than Nade's, and I think that Nade's upper body, it's just a little bit thinner than her lower body, which even though she's really full, it does read as a little less balanced than Raina, who's all her muscle bellies are really poppy and full. And Nade, she just doesn't have as much fullness to match that in the lower body. part of this is that her legs are so close together, so it makes things look thicker. If she put her foot out here instead of doing essentially a wellness pose, with her foot like angled completely horizontal and the other foot coming to meet it, then I think that would be a really strong pose and be tighter between her and Reina in the front poses. I still think Reina probably would have it, just because she's like so unbelievably poppy in a way that most competitors just are not. She has just a very rare physique in that way, and Nade has a rare physique in many other ways. Like her back pose is these glute insertions and the fullness she has in her hamstring, like her muscle bellies, is incredible. But Reina, there's just like this wow factor about her that I think edges out Nade. So I would like to see her stance split. I think the blue is pretty on her. Hair makeup look beautiful. The tan looks beautiful. I would like to see her angle her foot more at a 45-degree, because the amount of width I'm getting in her leg makes the discrepancy between the within her arm that much greater. So yeah, I think that's just imbalance from posing, or like an imbalance that's showing this way because of the posing. I think posing could be improved. Her waist is super tight, very hourglassy. It almost looks like she's pulling this shoulder back too much. However, if she opened her stance a little bit and angled that foot, then I think she would be better balanced from top to bottom. And she could bring this arm in tighter to her glute to frame her shape better. Her back pose, I don't really have anything to say. I don't really have anything to say about it. I would like to see more fullness in the shoulders. It just looks like her hair is covering it up a little bit. And I think she could bring her arms in closer on her legs so I don't see her wrist. And so that the shape doesn't travel out like this instead of out in the shoulders and in towards the waist, if that makes sense. And then in third place, we have Sharon. So I love Sharon. Love Sharon. I was surprised to see her in the third in third place, because the glute depth doesn't look as crazy as the other people in the top 5 or in the top 4. But she has the exact conditioning that they want, and her conditioning is very similar to Reina and Nadee's, and I think that's what edged out Brittany, even though Brittany has a very strong front pose. So okay, here is Brittany next to Sharon. Brittany is just tighter. You see more lines in the glute here, in the legs here. You see about the same amount in the arms. And Sharon, you see just full muscle bellies, some lines in the top and the bottom. I think Brittany might have just had too much detail. And then when we look at the back pose, I think Sharon just had I don't know. I think Brittany's triceps stand out to me a little bit. I would honestly like to see a little more muscle on her arms, like a very little amount. Or some more fullness in the shoulders so they taper down into the elbow. But right now they look a little bit like the same width to me. Brittany still looks incredible, but I think Sharon just has the overall fullness and taper into the elbow. I don't know. I would love to see the show in person. And then in her back pose, I think this is the amount of fullness they want seeing going into the hamstring. And Brittany's was just a little bit tighter, and we don't see as much on both of them. We don't see that much hamstring pop. But I think this conditioning is just a little closer to what was being, or to the criteria and obviously what was rewarded at the show. So Sharon, I think for her, it's just long-term stuff, like putting on more muscle in her glutes and in her hamstrings, but mainly just her glutes. So I would like to see what happens if she does that. I wouldn't really change anything about her posing. I think it's good. I think she could angle or bring her feet in like a little closer together. A little. I mean, I'm just guessing. So yeah, congratulations to Sharon. She looked incredible. Okay, and then in fourth place, we have Brittany. I think this is one of Brittany's best looks. She just looks better and better, and I have the same feedback that I usually have. Which just means an off season. Okay. And then in her posing, okay, what's going to come up? I'm like, am I going to do something wrong? Okay. So in her posing, she does look down before she gets into her back pose. And she does that in comparisons too. I would really like to see her. Okay. Let me find it. Okay. Brittany. So I would love for her to, when she starts going to the back. Okay, I'm just gonna have to find it instead of trying to vamp. Okay, Nade, so that's a last name that starts with an N. And then, is this Brittany? No. Oh no, you guys. The pressure is on when I do this. Okay, here's Brittany. So this is what Brittany does before she gets into her back pose. And I would like to see just some more confidence with it. So I would like her to look down a little bit less, but she's smiling way more than usual, which looks great on her. Okay, so front pose, gorgeous. That look down is okay. Okay, that's okay. And then she does just turn her head, but then she like has a big look down at her feet. I would just like her to go from the model pose and peek over the shoulder. So here she is doing the peek over the shoulder. And then I want her head to just turn and face the back and just stay looking up. That would read as more confident instead of the double look down. Okay. And then, okay, so yeah, so that's what I have to say about Brittany. And then Savannah, 5th place. I think the makeup could be a little more glam. Savannah looked great. I think that, yeah, she looked really full. She looked less hard in the upper body than she has at previous shows. With Savannah, I think she could split her stance more. I think her feet are pretty close together. So if she could have this foot like more out here, so the feet aren't coming close to each other, and I would say more arch in her low back, and this shoulder sinks down. So if she could just keep her shoulders level, angle her waist slightly away, arch her back, and change her stance, I think that would be a killer front pose. She's still getting 5th place and doing well with this front pose, but I just think it could be better. And then for her, I think it's just a long-term stuff, building more glutes, building more hamstrings, because right now the leg looks the same width all the way down. The cut is really good. It makes her glutes look really round. It looks excellent. But yeah, I just think more projection in her glutes and her hamstrings, because in her front pose, the hamstrings are kind of just a straight line. In their back pose, she doesn't have that much pop in the muscle belly. So I would like to see that, and I think she could be winning shows, but that might be just a long-term thing. And then we'll talk about 6th place, because I have her up here. So this is Marissa Wilmot. I probably would not open straight on like that. But yeah, she looked really good. I think her conditioning was just slightly over the line of what they would give like a 1st place to, but her shape is crazy. She has incredible confidence on stage. She's the posing coach for a team that I used to be on. I mean, she wasn't the posing coach then, but, she just looks great. I like the suit color. She looks really full. Again, just a few more lines that like a little tighter than what we saw in the top 5. But yeah, really great hourglass shape, really full. Hair, makeup, or hair and suit look really good. Tan looks really good. The makeup I think could be a little more glam. But yeah, congrats to her. She's moving up, so I'm thrilled to see that. Right? She's moving up. Yeah. Okay, 7th, 9th, 6th. So this is the highest that she might have ever placed in the pro league. Okay, no, she got a 5th place and a 3rd place before. So yeah, congratulations to her. Let me know your thoughts on the show. And let's just check again what shows are happening this weekend. I think it's only the 2 that I mentioned earlier. Okay, schedule. So, but we'll go here because there's 2 in the US, but there might be more elsewhere. Okay, so this weekend will be mid-July. Okay, so for Bikini, we have, exciting. Okay, for Bikini, we have Gomiza Ultimate Battle Columbia Pro, Chicago Pro, Taiwan, LA, and yeah, so we have 4 shows this weekend, so it's going to be exciting. So the list will come out, and I will do videos on those, obviously. Let me know what you think, and check out the nonprofit I had listed below, and have a great day. Bye.